Solomon in the book of Ecclesiastes talks in chapter 3 about how there's different times for different things, right? So there's a time for weeping. When you're sad and you let it all out, there's a time for that. There's also a time for laughing. There's a time for mourning. And there's also a time for dancing, celebrating. There's a time for all of those things. And there's different times in our lives where we're prompted for all of those different emotions. And so you think about that when it comes to church, and when you come to worship on Sunday mornings, you might think of the variety that you receive there. That there are times that it's good to be joyful, and that we sing really joyful, uplifting songs. Like, praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation, right? Who doesn't love that song as the trumpet is going and maybe another couple brass instruments that make this song so great, and you're standing, you're singing nice and loud. Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love coming on Easter when we're celebrating the resurrection of Jesus' victory over sin, death, and the devil, and how he has given that victory to us? It is fitting and right that we sing songs of triumph, these joyful songs. Who doesn't think that this is a pretty awesome, welcoming thing for a guest to come and hear uplifting music, right? But just as there's a time for celebrating, a time for joyful songs, there's also a place and a time for more somber songs, like Abide With Me or Be Still My Soul. Yeah, because not everyone is happy all the time, because not everybody is moved to dance or to laugh all the time, but there is a time for weeping. There is a time for mourning, because we suffer, because we live in a world that's described as a vale of tears. And so it's good for us to recognize that not everybody that comes to church on Sunday morning is happy. Not everybody's spirit is riding high. But some people might be in a pretty low place. They might be in a valley. And they very, very much might need that song, Be Still My Soul, or Abide With Me. Because in those times, it can feel pretty isolating, right? It can feel like you're the only one who's going through something like this, which certainly isn't true. In those times, it can feel like everybody else is really happy, everything else is going perfectly in everybody else's life except for yours. It's the nature of pain. It is an isolating thing. Of course, none of that is true. You are not the only one. And there are plenty of other people that are having difficult times. And if you open up, there are other people around you that would love to share your burdens and to carry some of those for you, to support you in them and encourage you. But even above all of that, the Lord in Psalm 34 verses 17 and 18 says this: "The righteous cry out to the Lord, and he hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit." He is close to the brokenhearted. Even if everybody else deserts you, the Lord is close to you. He is close to the brokenhearted. You might feel alone in times of pain and suffering. You may feel alone when you lose a loved one. But the Lord is there, and he promises to be there. He is close to you, and he loves you more than anything else. He is always present and at your side, and he knows pain and suffering. The proof of that? He became flesh and dwelt among us. Jesus himself experienced excruciating pain and suffering. He experienced loss. He was the one who stood outside the tomb of Lazarus and wept because he lost his friend. He knows pain and suffering. He knows your pain and suffering. Even if no one else understands, he does. and He always is powerful to save. And He has. Even if He doesn't specifically alleviate that suffering that you are going through, give you relief for that, He has saved you from the cause of all of that suffering. He has saved you from sin, death, and the devil, and given you the sure hope of heaven, where there is no more crying and there is no more pain. Because we still live in a vale of tears, we might still go through plenty of pain and suffering. And although the Lord may allow that to continue in some way, shape, or form, we trust that our God, who is close to the brokenhearted, remains with us, and that His purposes are always good. And without question, even if we can't explain it, we know that His purposes are good. We know that He hears our prayers and our cries for mercy. And we trust that He is close to the brokenhearted and that He delivers us from evil.